Hello friends, in this video we are going to see how to install Nginx Server in Linux Ubuntu operating system. As part of this, we will see how to install Nginx Server, how to place a sample web page in Nginx, and then we will see how to set up an example virtual host configuration in Nginx Server. The virtual host concept allows to host multiple websites or domains in the same Nginx Server. We will see that as part of this setup. Let us start. Let's start with installation of Nginx. This is a Linux server. Let us find the operating system. This is Ubuntu operating system with version 20.04. Before installing Nginx Server, let us update the package index. The index is updated. Now let us install Nginx Server. So this is the command for installing Nginx. The Nginx Server is installed. We can verify whether it is accessible or not. Let us verify in this command line itself using curl command. By default, this runs on port 80. Here we can see that we are able to get the index page of Nginx Server. Since I am using VirtualBox, I have forwarded a port 8010 on my host machine to port 80 on this virtual machine. So let me access the same page in the browser on my host machine on port 8010. So here we can see that we are able to access the Nginx web page from the browser as well. When we access the server on port 80, we have got a default index page. But we need to know how we have got this page by default. For that we need to check the Nginx configuration file that is present in /etc Nginx directory. Here we can see there is a file nginx.conf. So let us open this file. So here we can see the Nginx modules present in this directory are enabled by default, and under HTTP configuration we can see all the default settings. So here we can see two important directories. Under etc nginx conf.de, in this directory we can put our custom configuration files for the Nginx server. So this directory contains the required website configurations. Let us go and check both these directories. So this directory does not have any custom configurations for this server as of now. And let us go to sites enabled directory. Here we can see a file for default website. Let us open that. So here we can see the default server configuration. So by default it is listening on port 80. So this is the root directory. That means it will search for the default files under var www HTML directory. Here one more parameter is there, index. So this specifies file will be downloaded when you open the server. So this file is present as part of index. Let us open the file content. So when we open server on port 80, this file will be loaded by default. So now if we want to load a custom web page instead of this default web page, so we can create a file under this directory. So let us write a custom file now. So I'll copy the existing file to a new file now. I'm duplicating this file to a different name. So now let us open this file. So here let us change the content. For example, here instead of welcome to Nginx, I am changing this to some custom message. So I have changed it to welcome to my custom Nginx. Let us save the content. So now the file is saved. So we need to keep this file as the default file now. So for that we need to go to sites enabled directory. So under this let us change the default one. So here I am adding our custom file instead of the default Debian file. Let us save this file content. The file is saved. Let us restart the server. The Nginx server is restarted. Now let us verify the web page. So here we can see the message is welcome to my custom Nginx. That means it has displayed the custom web page which we have prepared just now. Now we have seen how to write a custom web page and how to display that web page as the default web page. Now, if we want to host a custom website which runs on a port which is other than default port 80, then what we have to do? For that we need to use a concept called virtual host. Now let us configure a virtual host to deploy a custom website which runs on port other than 80. To perform this, first of all let us create a new directory where we host our website files, for example the index file. So for that let us go to /var www directory. Instead of using default HTML directory, I am creating my custom HTML here. So in this directory, we'll keep the index file for our custom website. So I'm copying the same custom page, whatever we have prepared earlier, to this directory. So let us change this file again. Here I am changing the message again. So this is the new message for our custom website. Let us save this file. So to host this page, we need to create a separate configuration in sites enabled directory, or we can create a separate configuration under sites available, and we can create a soft link to point to that new file. So let us go to sites enabled directory. Let us open this default file. So similar to this server configuration, we need to add a new configuration in our custom file. So let us copy this server content to a notepad file, and I'll change the content. So these details needs to be changed for our custom website. Instead of default port 80, let us add something like 8030. So I'm using 8030 as the port now. So for server name, we don't have any domain now. So let us provide the IP address of this machine. So here we need to provide the root directory for our custom website. So let's copy this directory for our custom website. So under this is the default page we are using. And we can keep the default context root. So now let us create a new file in the sites enabled directory with this content. Here we have configured a separate virtual host which listens on port 8030. Whenever request comes to the server on this port, then it will search for the root directory which is mentioned here, and this is the default index file which will be loaded. So let us save this configuration. The configuration is saved. Now let us restart the server. The Nginx server is restarted. So now let us try to access our page on 8030. So I am using VirtualBox. I have forwarded on the same port 8030 on the host to the port 8030 on the Nginx server. Let us try to access our custom web page on port 8030. Here we can see that the custom website is displayed with the new message on port 8030. We can also access the page on default port 80, that means 8010 on host. This is the default page on port 80 in the Nginx server. That means we can host different websites on different ports using virtual host configurations. So in this video we have seen how to install Nginx server in Linux Ubuntu operating system. We also have seen how to change the default web page which is displayed on port 80. And finally we have set up a custom website which runs on a different port other than default port 80 using virtual host configurations. I hope this video helps. Thanks a lot for watching.